I have a question for you. Why would Donald Trump fire his attorney general in the middle of a war? Think about that. The United States just launched strikes on Iran. The president gave a national address. The world is watching, and right before that speech, Trump told Pam Bondi that she was done. So that timing is not an accident. I'm going to explain what I think is really happening, but first we need to talk about what Bondi got wrong, because she got some things very wrong. And let's start with the elephant in the room, the Epstein files. Pam Bondi walked into one of the most sensitive investigations in American history, and she fumbled it. She fumbled the Epstein files badly. Let's remember what happened. She went on Fox News and said that she had a client list on her desk. Then DOJ officials came out and said that no such document exists. That contradiction alone created a firestorm. It gave ammunition to every conspiracy theory. It gave ammunition to every critic. And yes, it made Trump look bad. Then came Bindergate. A group of MAGA influencers got a binder of files. Okay, but the files were heavily redacted. They revealed almost nothing new, and the whole thing felt like a stunt instead of real transparency. And Congress lost patience. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Bondi to testify under oath about how the DOJ was handling the Epstein files. So it was Republicans who did that, not Democrats, Republicans. And then there was the February hearing, when a congressman asked Bondi how many Epstein accomplices she had indicted, and Bondi's answer was to talk about the stock market. The Dow is 50,000, the S&P is at almost 7,000. Yeah, that was her answer to a question about Epstein. I watched that clip and I thought, that is not a serious answer. That is a deflection. And my Power Pundit audience does not accept deflections. Not from Democrats and not from our side either. So, I want to be clear. On the Epstein files, Bondi failed. She turned what should have been a transparency win into a credibility disaster. That is fair criticism, and I will not pretend otherwise. Now, the Daily Mail is reporting that Bondi got fired because she tipped off Congressman Eric Swalwell about FBI documents related to his relationship with a Chinese spy. I would take that with a massive grain of salt. The White House denies it, Swalwell denied it, and the Daily Mail source is a single anonymous person. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but the real reasons for this firing go much deeper than one leak. Because the Epstein mess is not the whole story. If you only focus on the Epstein mess, you miss that Bondi actually accomplished at the Department of Justice. So let me walk through some numbers. 24 Supreme Court wins, a 92% win rate. That is historic. The DOJ under Bondi won case after case after case at the highest court in the land. Immigration enforcement, executive authority, Second Amendment protections. There was win after win after win. The murder rate in the United States dropped to its lowest level since the 1900s. 125 years. So whether you credit Bondi directly or the broader Trump administration, that happened on her watch, and it matters. First ever domestic terrorism convictions against members of Antifa. That had never happened before. Bondi made it happen. More than 90 cartel leaders taken into custody. Massive fentanyl seizures. Thousands of pounds of drugs off the streets. She created Joint Task Force October 7 to go after Hamas leadership and their money networks operating inside the United States. She launched a task force on anti-Semitism on college campuses. She signed 14 major policy directives that reshaped DOJ priorities. She eliminated DEI programs across federal agencies. She shifted DOJ resources away from targeting so-called white Christian nationalists and toward actual cartels. She ended what people call regulation by prosecution, where agencies use investigations as a political weapon. She reviewed and reassigned prosecutors who worked on the January 6 cases and the Trump investigations. She cleaned up red tape around Second Amendment rights and she pressured states on voter roll maintenance, and she helped implement the post-Chevron cleanup of agency overreach across the entire federal government. All that one alone it will change how the United States government operates for decades. Now, does that list excuse the Epstein disaster? No. But does the Epstein disaster erase everything on that list? Also no. The people screaming, Bondi didn't arrest anybody, are looking at one piece of the puzzle. They are missing the quiet structural changes that happen underneath all the noise. Changes that will outlast Bondi. Changes that will outlast this administration. I'm going to tell you, I come from Venezuela. I watched the justice system in my country get hollowed out by Chavez and Maduro piece by piece. I know what it looks like when a government uses the law as a weapon against its own people. And I know what it looks like when someone tries to reverse that damage. It is slow and it is unglamorous. And nobody gives you credit for it while it's happening. So Pam Bondi tried to reverse some of that damage. She did not do a perfect job, but she did more than most people realize. So back to my original question. Why did Trump fire Bondi in the middle of a war? I think the answer is simple. The war is the reason. Think about what's happening right now. The United States is in a military conflict with Iran. The world is paying attention to American power, American resolve, American seriousness. And Trump is making decisions that will define his presidency. In a moment like this, Trump does not want a Department of Justice that gives his opponents easy targets. He does not want headlines about Epstein binders and congressional subpoenas. He does not want his Attorney General getting dragged into a deposition while American forces are operating in the Middle East. Trump looked at the situation and made a cold calculation. Bondi's wins were real. But Bondi's problems were becoming distractions. And in the middle of a war, distractions are not just embarrassing. Distractions are dangerous. So he decided to move her out. He put Todd Blanche in charge, and Blanche is his former defense lawyer, and Trump trusts Blanche completely. And now Trump can focus on Iran without having to answer questions about Epstein files every time he walks past a camera. Some people are saying that Lee Zeldin might replace Bondi permanently, the EPA administrator. I don't know if that's true, but I know this. Whoever comes next will inherit a Department of Justice that Pam Bondi reshaped from the inside. The wins are already locked in. The structural changes are already done. So Bondi built the machine, and Trump decided he needed a different driver. I wanted to be honest with you about this one. Bondi made mistakes, yes, real ones, but she also delivered results that the next Attorney General will build on. And the timing of this move tells you everything about where Trump's head is right now. Not thinking about Epstein files, he's thinking about Iran, and he wants a clean deck. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.